Okay. So, welcome to 2022, everybody. And it's going to be a wild ride full of beautiful blessings and changes and experiences. And if we greet them with an open mind and open heart, I think we'll be perfect along for the ride in a good way. So, that being said, um, I think we should start by introducing ourselves, where we are, what we're going to bring to the circle, how many situations and how many people, and then we'll set space. So I'll start. My name is Aydrey, and I'm at the cusp of the Poconos in Pennsylvania. And I would like to bring in 3 situations and 11 people. And the word or feeling I'd like to bring in is happy anticipation. And I would like to tag Sharon.
Sharon Raji here, Whidbey Island. And I want to bring in 2 situations and 5 people. And the focus I want to add, expand with is deepening I don't know what the next word is, a different word that I want to add to that. I'll say community because that's about the closest I can come. So deepening community. And I'll pass it to Sue.
Thank you, Sharon. So I'm Sue. I'm in Bellevue, Washington. I can see the snow line on Tiger Mountain, but most of our snow's gone. And yeah, big gusts of wind off and on today. And I want to bring in peace of mind and 13 people. And I'll pass to Kelly.
Hello, Kelly here in Portland, Oregon. And I want to bring in 3 situations, 7 people. And this sounds it sounds kind of a negative connotation. I don't mean it that way, but I want to bring in the neutralization of chaos. And Deborah, I will tag you.
Thank you. Deborah here from Sanford, North Carolina. We were sad. It snowed a few miles north of here, but not here. We just got lots of rain. I'd like to bring in 9 people, 4 situations, and healing. And I will tag Aydrey.
I've already gone. So Cinda, thank you.
Hi, everybody. It's been a while since I've been here. I'm Cinda from just south of Portland, Oregon, and I would like to bring in the healing of the elements, and I would like to bring in 3 situations and 2 families. Thank you. And Sharon Alexandra, welcome. I'm glad you're safe.
Thank you. Hi, good to see you, Cinda, and everyone. I don't see everyone yet. Okay, hello all. Lovely to be here. Happy New Year. And so I'm Sharon Alexander in Boulder County, Colorado, just on the perimeter of the fire and evacuation line. And realizing that these fierce winds and hot fires are clearing the way for something amazing. I have no idea what, but I'm open to that and ready for that. And so bringing bringing fierceness and clarity and new beginnings. And let's see here. Oh boy, I don't know. I could bring, well, I was going to say all the people affected in some way by the fires and the animals and the land, which I know will grow back brilliantly and beautifully. I guess I'll just leave it at that. Yes, thank you. And pass it to Sue if you haven't gone yet.
Okay, I think that's everybody. So as we are here in this container, we're going to set a sacred space, and we're going to take a breath in through your nose and release all the cares and worries from your time being awake today and the days prior to now. And another breath as we call in our causal teams, our divine soul star families, our spiritual teams of highest light and resonance. We ask that the Guardian Circle protocol and hazmat absorption. I'm drawing a blank. Hold on, give me a second. Center, focus. Hitchhiker shield. And Red Rock be present with us in this sacred space, knowing that is all that is not of our light and all that is not of good be taken by the PTO team back to home source, where it can be transmuted and tended to as needed. We know that we are cared for and loved in this sacred cocoon of sovereignty, of love, peace, and harmony. And we bring in 15 situations, 45 people, all affected by the fires, the animals, the people, the land. We bring in the qualities of happy anticipation, deepening community, peace of mind, neutralization of chaos, healing of the elements, fierceness, clarity, and new beginnings. And as the sacred space is set, we know that the causal teams and the tag teams will tend to all that is in circle, all that we've put in circle, and all that need to be in circle that we may have inadvertently left out. As sacred space is set, and so it is. And now we will open with a popcorn style sharing of what's been going on. And if anyone would like to start.
I'll start. It's been a very intense few months, as most of you know, as I've really been able to have more of that direct experience of working with narcissistics and abuse and the trauma energy and what that does in situations, both past family, present family, and current individuals. It was quite a ride. And again, energy, who holds the outcome determines the outcome. Whoever works with energy determines the outcome. And so what I'm seeing again is the miracles, that can happen when you understand energy, when you pull together tools and individuals. And it leaves me so appreciative of knowing what I know and whom I'm connected to, you and all of you included. And it also makes me aware of how many out there in the world are still unconscious of it. And so they're in their pain because they don't know what the pain means. So I'm just really grateful to be at this point in that particular journey with you in that particular journey, and having a very small glimmer, a sense of what's coming within our community, and which means you, who in the heck you are and who we thought we were is not at all the limit of who we really are. So I'm just grateful to be here with you, holding that kind of space and knowledge.
Well, I've been watching my family, not my family, but my brother and my sister fracture just in every crazy way. Everybody's coming completely unglued. I mean, it's like, oh my gosh, what's happening mentally, emotionally? It's like watching a storm happen, and there's nothing I can do. I mean, I'm a sounding board, and it's like complete chaos. I mean, so crazy. And at the same time, I have hummingbirds that are visiting me all the time on my deck, which is my mom, so it's this amazing thing. And being with my son and so, it's just really, I feel like I'm living in two worlds. I have this that I'm trying to hold on, help, and however I can, I don't really know. And here, where I'm also making decisions for me, not only based for financial, I'm going to be moving back in with my daughter. Some of it is financial, but some of it is because I feel like I'm preparing for something else that's coming down the pipe, that by my being with her in whatever capacity that is, then that's somewhere that I have to be for something else that's coming, because I've been feeling that pull for a while. We've been talking about it kind of high level. And then, the cost of living is not, so it's like, but there's no ambivalence about it. There's no, oh my gosh, I've got to go back. And they're in a different, so anyway, there's just this really weird space that I'm in. Not weird for me, I'm in a great space, but I'm in a weird space nonetheless. So there we go. That's what's happening in my world. It's all, and I'm letting go of, again, almost everything. I feel like I have to let go of all my material possessions. It's like boxes that I haven't opened for the last year and a half since being in here. I'm like, and my furniture, I mean, I'm like not attached to any of it. And so this time I'm not going to do a storage unit. I'm just going to start selling anything that's big. So that's where I'm at, and just holding the space for that highest and best and what the thread is showing me and choices that I'm being led to make. So that is me, and I'm complete.
I'll go next. I am just in awe over and over again, the power that prayer has in shifting the energy and the outcome and the healing it can bring. You know, Sharon, you have said that just one of us can make such a huge difference because one of us, you know, we are connected to so many. And in one of these meditations, you know, where I traveled into the cosmos and met this realm of grace, I saw the legion of angels that supports her. And the message that she said to me was, all you need to ask and you shall receive. And so I tested her, and in that meditation, I went here, 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 and one of those angels immediately flew down and rested a hand on the front and the back of each individual, whether I knew them or not, whether they were strangers or not. And I have found that when I do that with the elements, when I do that with, you know, the results are almost instantaneous. And I think as the only thing that I could say to that is that the closer we bring heaven down to earth, those of us that are doing this work, the more impactful the work becomes. And the more instant it is, you know, it happens. It's just spectacular. I'm in awe of it. I'm in awe of it. And of course, I'm saying that because I know that every prayer will only affect those for the highest good. You know, it's not my intention that's getting answered. It is the prayer, and then that is takes care of it for the highest good of all. Anyway, we have property up in the Columbia River Gorge, and they got hit in the middle of the night with 4 feet of snow. And we can't get there to help them. They are buried. I-84 is closed. A snowplow got stuck on Highway 14. I mean, there's no way in and no way out. And fortunately, we didn't have any guests. They had already checked out. And but they're buried. And so our property manager is walking the property buried to her waist, you know, just, it's crazy. And so we've canceled all upcoming reservations so we can make sure the property is safe, but it's so beautiful. Everything right now is so beautiful. So there we go. Thank you for letting me share. I'm done.
I'll go next. So it just feels like there's changes. It's been an incredibly 2 or 3 months of intense work on releasing trauma, really, really deep trauma. And then I just hit a wall. The inner child said, that's it. I'm not doing anymore. And then it was a lot of healing work. And I could still do releasing, but you just can't do releasing from the youngest parts of me. And it got overwhelming anyway. Absolutely overwhelming. So I'm feeling I'm back to that neutral point, and it has changed everybody around me, which is just absolutely fascinating. I did all the work. They got happier. But the most amazing one, well, there's been my grandnephew changed personalities completely from angry, absolutely angry, hateful, pretending to be happy. He made peace with his family. Unbelievable. Miracle, huge miracle. And then my daughter-in-law over Christmas just challenged me, and I didn't engage in it. I just I just said, I did the vaccination for me. And these are my reasons, 3 reasons. And then she turned on her husband. Why did you do it? And he gave the same 3 reasons. That's what a lot of us did it for, was for 3 reasons. Anyway, she came back the next day, and I just said, I just don't know about that. And then when I left, I didn't challenge back. I didn't defend myself. I didn't accuse. I didn't make an argument. I didn't engage at all. And she changed. She just literally changed. So when I was saying my goodbyes, she hugged me like she loved me, dearly loved me. And then I hugged everybody else, and she said, one more hug. And she just held on. That makes me cry. That's huge. So I feel like something more is going to change. And this morning's meditation, I saw me as a warrior. And I haven't seen that for years, many, many years. And I had on my license plate for a long time, spiritual warrior. And it feels like I'm stepping into it. I just don't know exactly what that means or what it looks like, but my shield is love and light. And I have a lightsaber. And it's the light of creation. It is not a weapon light. It just spreads love and light. So I found it very interesting, and I can't wait to see what chapter 2 is when we go into meditation today. So I'm complete for now.
I'll go. It was a wild ride before Christmas, to say the least. We regrouped quite a bit. Had that encounter at my friend's funeral, and it was just a door closing. Like my non-response was the best response. I had nothing to say at that point. And just my sister reached out to me and did her apology. And that was huge. She wished me Merry Christmas this year, which was beautiful. And I don't know, it just feels different. Just feels different, and I feel the next connection is me learning to have fun and weaving in fun with my kids, because I didn't when they were kids like they probably need it. So that's what I'm going to work towards. So I am complete.
Well, excuse me. The cortisone shot I got in my hip in November has worn off. And I've decided I can't put it off any longer, that I'm going to have hip replacement surgery. That it's sort of come to that. And I've tried to call to schedule it, and person was out last week and they were sick today. So I just keep doing my evolutionary blueprint and my reality statements. And when my negative thoughts come up, I'm like, deep six, deep six, deep six. And I just keep getting that there's more healing to be done before surgery, that there's a lot more. So that's my focus over the next month or so. That's what I've been told is that's what I have to focus on. And I'm willing to accept miracles. I don't have to have the surgery. But so if anybody knows anything about healing bone on bone, probably without surgery, let me know. And, but I can't function this way, so I'm done.
We're here for you, Deborah.
I'll share. I've been in a funny place, sort of feeling in between worlds, if you will, for the last handful of days, having returned from a wonderful vacation with my children, my husband, and our daughter's boyfriend, completely immersed in nature from the moment the roosters crowed at 3 a.m. until the sun just began to light the sky and rose, to the breezes, and it was just incredible. The whole, completely immersed at this sort of in this eco area, eco marine reserve in Baja, Mexico. And then just came home to the wind and the fire and the collective fear, the emotion, the strong emotion of fear in the collective feeling body. And I tend to take on things going on around me. And so was feeling very overwhelmed over the weekend, and then, got out in nature with a good friend and talked and realized that, yes, indeed, really, we are here. We collectively, you and I, here to, bring that elevated sense of perspective and energy and vibration, and that it's okay to be in that state, even when people are suffering and chaos is all around. And so that was a reminder to me yesterday, and I want to be in that space and engage with my practices in a way that buoys me up as people are suffering close by. Oh, I think what started it all, I should share this too, since now I'm talking, is last Monday we arrived from being off the grid really for 10 days or more. And when I checked my messages, my next door neighbor had texted me to let her know that her 15-year-old daughter committed suicide. And so that just broke my heart. And that was like the end of our vacation. I shared that with the children when they were leaving, and then to step into all of this. So I guess, yes, I'm feeling a little raw and vulnerable and a little bit uncertain about how to find that equilibrium. So that's where I am today. Thank you for letting me share, and I am complete.
Thank you, everyone. So as we settle in more to our space, we've heard everyone's words, we felt their emotions, we felt their needs, their desires. And as we journey today, we call in our spiritual teams, the tag teams, our divine soul star families, to guide us and show us what we may feel is impossible. Show us possibilities. What we deem uncertain, show us ideas and ways to navigate the times, to create a world in which there is peace and harmony and sovereignty and freedom from outsider influences. And as we take a deep breath in and settle more, we can turn off our cameras, and we'll be back in 10-15 minutes. Come back. Give Kelly a couple seconds to come back. Anybody would like to share? Do popcorn style.
I'll go first. So beautiful an introduction into the meditation, Audrey. Thank you. That was lovely. And a while ago, I had been shown, I can't remember how it came to me, but this low hanging lining grid that, you know, of course, there's a gigantic grid that's way out there that we're all connected to as well. But this was a grid that was connected to every single person that was experiencing grief. And I realized, and I was shown that this grid was the unifying factor to all humans on the planet, that we who are all experiencing the pandemic, loss of loved ones because of the pandemic, loss of the way of life, or just grief in general, is the cause and the creation of this grid. And because it is so low hanging, and because more and more people are connecting to it, it is becoming dense and heavy and restrictive. And so I've been trying to figure out, at first I thought I was shown the grid to be able to travel or send healing energy to others who are experiencing grief. But now I'm realizing that perhaps the tapping into this grid is to help dissipate it, loosen it, get rid of that density, because it could almost become like a shell that prevents us from higher frequencies. And so in my meditation today, I was just like, how do I go about that? How do I travel? How do I help dissipate the density of this grief grid? And I was sort of shown that I need to bring in the animal kingdom, the plant kingdom, and the crystal kingdom, and have them help with the reactivation, the dispersing, the breaking up of this density that is this heavy layer upon us. So I'm excited to research this more. So thank you.
That was really powerful lead in. Thank you, Aydrey. And what I saw was, what I felt was I just so centered that nothing could push me off my center. You know, those dolls that are rounded, kind of look like snowmen, and you can knock them all which ways, but they always come back to center. And that's what I was being shown, is that I am learning or something and becoming very, very centered. So I just kind of stayed with that and didn't really get anything beyond that. And if I become that center, that'll be a miracle. That'll be a huge miracle. So I just sat with that and enjoyed it. And I'm complete.
And I woke up this morning very, very early and was shown that there was another step that needed to be taken beyond the guardian circles. Because the guardian circle was always created to be around those who are building good, to protect them from attack. And then we used it to put it around those who are doing whatever they're doing to dissipate outsider energy. And so it's been doing fine, but they said it's now time for what the best name I could come up with at this point is the galactic laser fire. And it's very much such a step up, PTO on steroids, you know. It's time to be able to contain, to absolutely freeze frame, absolutely remove whatever deeply entrenched parasitics might still be in our world, and there are those that are still in the world. And so as I worked with that this morning, what I'm left with now is definitely that commitment. That definitely I will be inviting in those who want to be in that. But there's a sense of, contrary to your Cinda seeing the grief that needs to be dissipated. That's a different energy. And what I'm seeing is the parasitic energy is lessened. And so what I'm seeing for us moving as a community into next year with our circles and our work and whatever we put forward is the being able to go into those groups that have been so traumatized. You know, I'm speaking of domestic violence groups. I'm talking about addiction groups that we're able to penetrate and share our skills, our experiences into those groups in ways we haven't been able to do before because they've been so locked down with parasitics. And so the grief energy, I can see that is absolutely a powerful next step. And I'm glad you were shown that, Cinda. I just have a sense of lightness, but not completion. That warrior energy is exactly how I felt this morning, Sue. Sue has been with me a long time, and it's so funny how many times we end up with in the same place, but different in how we verbalize it, and yet it's the same place. And I was so in that warrior this morning, and how it showed up for me was a powerful galactic laser fire. So I'm excited for what is coming and for what has been done, and that's what I have to share in the circle. Thank you.
Sure. So last night I didn't sleep last night, and most of it was I was just on the psychedelic trip of these pieces of a mosaics. You know, just think of a mosaic and all these shards floating around, and I couldn't make rhyme or reason of them. I kept on trying to move them into a pattern, and they would like go back out, and I would rearrange them into a pattern, and they would go back out. So it was fascinating, I guess, astral dreaming or traveling or whatever I was doing. But that came into my journey today, in the fact that now what I saw was that all those pieces of the mosaic were tethered. There's strings. So each piece was kind of like a balloon, and each piece was all tangled up. So all their strings were all, so every time I try to put it together, their strings were so tangled that it would push them apart. So then they gave me a Rubik's Cube and a hexagon. And they said it was basically play with the Rubik's Cube, change it, place it in the hexagon, and that'll help to start untangle the knots of the mosaic. And this is specific to the instability within the mental framework of my family, right? There's a lineage difference there, so I can see it from a different perspective than what, so that's basically what I was shown. So I'm going to, after this, I'm going to lay back down and work with my Rubik's Cube and the knotting to see if I can bring that into their sphere enough to find a vein of stability of thought process and of awareness of something that will help unknot their threads. And I think that's a generalization of everybody's threads, of the collective's threads, right? I mean, I'm experiencing it for my family, but it's working with the math and the numbers of the patterns and how to make it stick in a cohesive pattern, rearranging the cells in a way. So I'm complete.
I had a quick share before I get quickly into the journey, but I keep thinking if the parasitics are almost gone and our purpose on Earth was to determine the parasitics, and Sharon, you've gone through the new or old original chakra system and how it was supposed to be done when we first got here. But the question is that I have, and not to be answered necessarily today, just to think about, is the way it comes through for men and women still going to be the same once the parasitics are gone? Because the men don't have to hold the thing to keep the knowledge away from the parasitics that the women were here. So does that mean there needs to be a realignment of how the energy comes in through those chakras and direction? No. Okay.
I'll answer it very quickly if that's okay, Deborah.
Yeah.
The major difference is that the men do not have to hold contracts of ownership. It will not, the bodysuit is no longer owned by the parasitics.
But the energy still goes through and comes out their heart. And okay.
Their heart is still their major functioning center. Yeah.
Okay. I just didn't know that. Yeah. Thank you.
That's what I was told, because I had the same question.
So I just asked to be taken where I needed to go today. I didn't say for anything, and Jesus showed up, which was the first in this group, and took me to one of the great spiritual teachers, and we had a very nice time. And then Jesus took me to somewhere in the cosmos where all of the ascended masters' energies are. Not that they can't come and go and all, but that there's this, and just all of that energy in one place. And it was pretty astounding. It was just very wonderfully divinely charged. I just, and it was just feeling it soak through every space and pore and molecule and stuff coming in. So it was very nice. That was me. Thank you.
Sounds wonderful, Deborah. Thank you for sharing, absorbing that energy. With the state of my mind, I had a hard time dropping in or flying up or whatever. And there was a pattern that just continued to emerge, which was a spiral. And so I looked it up a little bit. I mean, I wrote all the words down that I would associate, Reiki energy and the energy changing in the seasons. It's a symbol for gratitude. There's so much transformation linked to nature. And then more of what I wrote down: cycle of life, birth, growth, death, reincarnation, evolution and growth of spirit, symbol of change and development, path leading from outer consciousness, materialism to inner wisdom. The shaman's hand, so in the Native American tradition, and the healer's hand, consciousness of nature, starting from the center and expanding outward, the way of all things, the journey and change of life as it unfolds, taking a labyrinth-like passage that leads the soul to evolve. Getting to the knowledge of the absolute, a slow reveal of what is hidden, asking the right questions to get good answers. So I just thought it was a beautiful image, and yeah, can spend more time with that. So that's all I have to share today. Thank you.
I just want to say, Sharon, thank you. When we first started, before we went into meditation, it was earlier when Aydrey was just setting space, and she said a guardian circle, and all of a sudden I saw the guardian circle not just in a closed circle, but it went into this huge spiral, like you see the nebulae, whatever, going out into the cosmos, and this huge, and it wasn't closed, but it was still safe. And so when you were saying that, it was just kept thinking of seeing the guardian circle as a spiral earlier. So for whatever that's worth, thank you.
Beautiful. So my journey started with a song that I used to sing in church, and I realized, I guess it was me making commitment. Just saying, "Here I am, Lord. I will lead your people with my heart." And that just kept on going. And I was like, okay, push it away. And it just kept on going. So it's just, I think, a reminder of what I had committed to do way back when. And then it was just peace and colors. But then I asked to go back to as far back as they would take me. And I was just this light being. And I said, okay, that's nice. So now let's go to the tribes. And it was myself, like it was two of me, this light being and me. And we were talking to all the women of the world and saying, it's time to use your voice. And we asked the PTO and to come in and heal everybody's voice and throat and anything that is blocking them, to remove it. And then it was asking everybody's PTO and causal teams to just come down and take away the oppression that is holding the women and children down, and the grief actually also, Cinda. So I thought that was interesting. And then the daughters who are grieving. It was a lot about the healing of the mothers and the daughters and the grief, but around the planet, and just encompassing them. And I asked Grace to come in and just fill their hearts and sit with them, and let them know that there was hope, and that they have the hope, and that hope would fill their hearts and give them a reason to keep on going. So it was beautiful, and I am complete. And yeah, thank you everyone for the beautiful sharing today. Sue?
Reminded me, one of the first things I saw when I went into meditation was for Deborah, that the bone, I read about a story years ago about a man whose leg was crushed in an auto accident, and he was like, one leg was like 2 inches short. So they took the bone, two ends of the bones, put them close together, and as the bone grew together, they pull it back until he had his 1 inch or his 2 inch. Fascinates me that the bone grows. And what I saw was a disintegrating hip bone. And if you would visualize the same thing, that which is not a substantial bone literally replaces it with a stronger bone. The bone just grows. Can't describe it. Don't know how to describe it. But I watched it. So it's a possibility, I believe, if you can visualize it, and if you can get the feeling that this is actually happening, that's a good chance the whole hip bone can, I was shown it can heal.
Thank you.
And you know what, Sue and Deborah, on that same note, if Kelly doesn't mind me sharing a story, but Kelly, do you remember the energetic, you know what I'm going to talk about, that an organ was replaced in you? Do you want to?
I was gonna offer it as well. So I have suffered from chronic bone-on-bone pain a lot in my hips. It's a genetic challenge for me. My mom had it as well. And what I discovered last fall, I think it was that there was something wrong with a code. I called it the codex in my system. So I worked with a meditation. I could see it. I could see where the code, the number value, the numerical value of a particular genome, if you will, that had a correlation to my hip was wrong, and I fixed it. And I haven't had any hip pain since, Deborah. And I haven't. It used to be at a point where, I mean, it was really, it's plagued me most of my life, most of my adult life. And in the same context, I also worked with Cinda on one of her challenging places. And Cinda, you can share from that. So I'm certainly would love to connect with you separately as to what that might look like. But go ahead, Cinda.
Thank you. That would be great. I appreciate it.
Well, yeah, I was having some joint pain in my ankle, and Kelly said, well, let me just experiment and see what I can do. And she was in her home and I was in mine, and she went to go visualize it. And I think you were going to work on the strands and and just try to create healing in my, and she said, I can't get in. There's like this green shell around it. And I busted out laughing because I was wearing a green rubber boot. and I said, oh, that's crazy. So I took my boot off. Anyway, the pain went away after a few days, and it has not come back. So I would offer that. And I was also reminded of a story where, bringing in what Sue had said, is that we can seriously recreate an energetic organ within our body, or a healthy organ. I mean, so you can recreate the gel between, an energetic gel between bone on bone, that it actually is regenerated. I mean, it won't hurt to try to do that.
Thank you. Yeah, go ahead.
No, go on.
What I've been told in my meditations is you're getting ready to go out and do really good healing, but you have to do this first, because otherwise you can't do the other work. And in the meditation today, what I didn't say is Jesus asked these other healers to help me because he said that there's forces trying not to get me to get there.
Yeah.
Because it would make that much difference. So thank you. So Kelly, I'll definitely get in touch.
Absolutely. We'll connect for sure. Because I'm working on my knees right now, just as a correlation. I've been working on my knees as of recently because my knees have started to bother me a little bit, and I'm seeing a reprieve from that as well. So just as an FYI. So yes.
Thank you.
And I just have a quick question, Sharon. I'm curious, so you were bringing up the parasitics again, and I'm seeing this grid. And when I was very first shown the grid, it was just a very sweet, gentle grid connected, everyone connected to that was grieving, which was 98% of the population, if not every single person. And grief isn't usually considered dense and heavy, although very sad and painful. Usually grief is generated by love, but it's growing thicker and heavier and denser. I'm wondering if this is an energy that is easily tapped into by the parasitics, and the parasitics are even reaching more of us through this grief grid that is making it more and more difficult for people to even raise their frequencies to recover.
Or fear, or confusion,
right, yeah.
or chaos. Yeah. Yeah. That's why, what I was reminded of also, I think it was, I did an amazing thing with Sharon this morning. So thank you for sharing. That was beautiful. And I can't remember if it was during this circle or during her circle where I was taken. Oh, it was during Sharon's circle where I was shown out away from the planet, looking down and reminded that the natural order of things, that in the natural order of things, chaos is necessary for the reframing to happen. So the chaos is a necessary step showing us that we are going into reforming, and every one of us has a role to play in this time. And so for, there are some who are being directed to just hold that light of love, of home, of light of home. I am being told to hold that commitment. No parasitics now with a laser. Others are being told to encourage. Tell your stories. I mean, there's all different ways that we are now being called into the chaos. The chaos is necessary because that's the pain that says what has been cannot remain. And so our participation in whatever way we are called is very important. It's the same, like, for example, with Deborah there, what is it that's being called for her situation? It's multiple, and it's not her alone. That's why I really felt to say to her, Deborah, we are with you. And whatever we are each, it's just a model for what's going on out there in the world. And I don't know where we started with that, Cinda, but I don't know if you got, also, I want to just mention this because it's coming to my mind. I have never, Jesus was my first touch point. Deborah remains a major point for all of the tag work in the ancient ones. And one of the things they ask that I do is give them permission, because when I began working with them in 89, 90, I said, I will not do trance channeling. I will not go out and be unconscious, let somebody kick over my body. I will not do it that way. I will be here, and I will be, I'm always saying, what's the value and who are you? And so starting this year, I have said I will step aside for one session a week where I'm kind of off to the side and let them say what it is they want to say to you guys directly. And so that should be an interesting journey for whatever they say, and also how I can stay out of the way of it. So I'm really pretty excited for what's coming, knowing that we're not finished yet, but there's some, those changes we've been feeling and talking about for the last couple of months for sure. All of a sudden, here's some forms forming around that new, and so here we are. Yeah.
So with that, Sharon, I saw your first one, and is it a time that you're supposed to tune in on Sunday, or do you post it once you do it?
Both. I'm going to do both. The time, I didn't put the time on the YouTube because I wasn't sure when it was going to be, but it's going to be beginning January 16, 12:30 p.m. And the link is at theancientonestoday.com. It's a Zoom link. Doesn't have.
So we get to actually see you channel. Is that what you're saying? Did you get my message? I called you right after I listened to your Ancient One channeling. Did you get I called you and I was screaming in your ear about how excited I was that you finally did this.
Yeah. It's, like I said, it's like, oh my gosh, you guys, I'm going like, we're not going to wear a turban. No, we're not, it's like this conversation is going on.
So what time, Sharon, what time, 12?
12:30, I believe. I'll just go over here and check. It's on the Ancient Ones today. what's interesting is the third book. Oh, let's see, the ancient ones today. Oh, I forgot to. The third book was to be entitled "Their Message Today," and oh, I guess that's. I'll put the link. I have that wrong. And so I don't know. I think maybe what this is going to be is going to become the book. You know what I mean? The text of what they're saying today is going to become the book. I don't know. Yeah, but that's what we're going to do.
It's exciting.
Will it be interactive, or are we just there to hold space and watch?
Yeah, there's watch and questions, and then there's a place where you can put questions for the next time, not for the day, but for the next time. Because I mean, eventually that may happen, but not right now. Right now, it's like, okay, step aside for a half hour. Yeah,
That's fantastic.
That's very exciting.
Very exciting.
And Kelly, just one quick note about what came through for you with the like the balloons and the strings and everything mixed up reminded me of when I was guiding my brother through claiming the role as the divine masculine for our family, and he didn't feel particularly comfortable doing that energetically. And I said, well, if you were to visualize a staff and you were holding that staff, and attached to the end of the staff are strands, and on each strand is a kite or a balloon representing every single one in our family. So all of the siblings, all of the nieces and nephews, his children, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. And if he were to just pound that staff into the ground and hold it steady, you know, this is just energetically, right? And then he would monitor those strands with the balloons or the kites. And when one started to go astray, he would just come over and pluck it and tell it, you're going to be okay, you're going to be okay, until it settled down. And so because there's so much chaos happening in your family and everything is all tied up, maybe it's lacking a grounding agent. And maybe since you're aware of it, you can, with that energy, become the matriarch of all of that shit and just tell those strands to calm down, you know, and just claim the power so they can relax and unwind.
I wish I know that I remember that story. This is a psychological. This is a very different scenario. This isn't just about people being whacked. This is about people really being whacked. This is a instability, not just, it's a deep, ancient thing. It's not just about, I mean, yeah, it's really old. It's like trying to put a fractal together from all space and time. There's a thread, there's a lineage thread. Yeah. But I appreciate that, Cinda, because the balloon scenario comes in so handy with trying to just strum our own balloons, right? Just settle it down.
So what comes to mind, Kelly, is Sue's comment is, well, I do all the work and they get better. It's like I change my thoughts or beliefs or whatever, and they get better. And in Ho'oponopono, Dr. Hugh Len worked at the Hawaii State Hospital for the Criminally Insane. And these people were never expected to get better. I mean, they were going to be there forever. And he just did the Ho'oponopono work, which is just basically clearing his memories between him and them. And they got better.
I'll keep on working with the fractals. That's what I'm working with. That's how my work is on the fractals.
Yeah, so I'm just saying that it's let go of how old or how hard it is, or how entwined, because there could be a simple way for it to disentangle. Let it, you know, you're willing to let it be easy.
Thank you.
Just think about that.
Appreciate it.
And I've also found that there are times where it's like you're fighting the devil through the night to see who's going to come out on top. And sometimes it is really intense, and until it becomes easy. So any way we can help, or you feel called, Kelly, we're here for you too.
Absolutely. Yeah. All right, ladies, can I mute? It's been lovely. Thank you all.
Thank you, Audrey.
Thank you, Audrey. It was wonderful.
Thank you, everybody, for all your share.
New Year.
Yeah.
It all helps.
Blessings. Thank you.
Bye-bye.